Our countdown to the coronation continues. Despite the ongoing and very public feud in the royal family, King Charles is still trying to involve Meghan and Harry in the coronation. In his latest olive branch extended to the couple, the King has included a photograph of them in the official Buckingham Palace souvenir programme. Joining me in the studio now is the Sun's royal correspondent, Matt Wilkinson. Lovely to have you here. This is quite a big deal, isn't it? I don't think most people would have expected this.
With the photo, I mean, I think we're going to begin. I actually think we're going to see more of this over coming weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, this was a nice touch. This is the official souvenir that you can buy in shops and keep and give to your grandchildren or whatever. And it's got a lovely picture taken from 2018 for Charles's 70th birthday. And if you look at the picture, it's from happier times.
Yes.
I mean, when do we get the family all sitting together, smiling, joking and looking happy? It may be one of the few pictures that they actually have that they can put into a souvenir edition. But I think the mood music I'm hearing is that not just this gesture, but there have been gestures, there has been actually a talk between Harry and Charles over the last couple of weeks, that we may see more kind of gentle offerings of this kind to each other across the Atlantic.
Okay.
Let's hope we do.
So we know that the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, is not coming across for the coronation. We know it's Archie's 4th birthday, and that's a jolly good reason for a mum saying, I want to stay with my boy on his birthday, isn't it? That makes everybody feel that this might just be the reason why she's staying behind. Do you think that the King is relieved? Do you think that William and Kate are relieved that Meghan is not coming, that won't add more pictures, more fuel to all the speculation about the feud?
Well, firstly, the coronation has to be about Charles and Camilla, not about Harry and Meghan. My understanding is the word that's been described to me or used to describe the way the King is feeling is he understands why the Duchess of Sussex wanted to stay in California. It takes a bit of the sting out of the whole situation by not having Meghan there. I think by having Harry, they know Harry, they've known Harry, you know, his whole life. Like Meghan is a newcomer. So having Harry there, surrounded by his family, he can hang out with Mike and Zara or Peter Phillips, people that he does know, that it will Beatrice and Eugenie.
He normally hangs out with Eugenie, doesn't he? Because they're good pals,
You can talk to. I think it was a sensible solution, and it just takes the sting out of the whole thing. I don't think many people can really be that angry that Harry is coming back for the coronation for his father. I think people would get a little bit angsty if Meghan came as well, and I think it would take a lot of attention away from what is the Charles and the Camilla show. But I think it's a sensible solution to say Charles, happy that Harry's coming, and he's understanding that Meghan isn't making it.
The other thing we hear is, I don't know whether this is confirmed or not, but that there won't be a meeting at which the two brothers attempt any kind of reconciliation, that Harry will just get right back on the plane and fly straight out of there to try to attend Archie's birthday party, and he won't be hanging around to try to build bridges with his brother, which is a shame, isn't it, once he's come all the way here?
Well, again, I think the focus is on the King and the coronation. So the focus is on Harry coming along and supporting his father and supporting him on a massive, massive state and family occasion. It may not be the time for him to sit down with William. He will come in, as you say, attend the coronation and then fly off to be with his family.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the awkwardness of this relationship between Harry and William was not a major stumbling block to Harry attending. It was mainly the issue of security.
And have they sorted that one out, or are they still sorting?
That's why he's coming, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
all right.
sorted.
Let's talk about the rehearsal, because in the dead of night, the stroke of midnight to be precise, just like all fairy tales always happen at the stroke of midnight, there was a grand-scale rehearsal for the coronation. So do you know what unfolded under cloak of darkness?
Well, luckily there were cameras there to capture this moment,
Look
so we
at
can
this.
all
It looks
see it.
Marvellous, doesn't it?
But this is a real taste of what we'll see on May the 6th. I mean, as I
So
say,
describe this to people who can't see it because they're listening on the radio.
So this was a procession of some carriages and also military. So at the coronation, we're going to have 6,000 soldiers and members of the military on the 1.3-mile walk between the Abbey and Buckingham Palace.
How does that compare in scale with what we just saw at the Queen's funeral? It's
the biggest military ceremony on the streets of Britain since the last coronation in 1953.
Oh, so it's huge.
It's going to be bigger. And there's also Commonwealth servicemen will also be on there, yeah.
OK. So are we expecting many more nighttime rehearsals like this?
Well, I think, yeah, I think possibly. I think if you're in the West End and you're, out having a meal, or you're walking back home from the pub and you bump into this military procession going down Whitehall and the Mall, that's what it's all about, yeah. I think we'll see some more.
Oh gosh, I mean, if you can't see this, I describe it for you because it's all silvery light because it's the middle of the night, and there are lots of exquisite white horses and carriages in the light of just the gas lamps there, and it looks beautiful. It looks ethereal and kind of sylvan and gorgeous, doesn't it? Makes me feel very excited at the whole thing, and I'm going to be presenting it for Talk TV on the Coronation Day, so I can't wait. This is getting really good now. Ben Goldsmith has spoken, and he's a good pal of Queen Camilla's son and nephew, I understand. He's son of the late James Goldsmith, brother of Jemima, and he said, don't listen to the drips and dullards. Now, who are the drips and dullards, and what are they trying to do?
My reading into this is that there's some complaining that some dukes and peers.
Dukes are complaining? Why?
Because they don't have an invite to the coronation.
Oh, that's right. Lots of dukes have been left out. Is that because they're drips and dullards?
I think it's people who are asking.
D's, those dukes are drips and dullards. Gosh, don't invite them. I wouldn't want them at my coronation if they're drips and dullards, would you?
Well, that's the thing. The invite list that we've seen so far is that we have children, we have NHS workers, we have charities that are connected to the King and Queen. I wouldn't call them drips and dullards.
No.
But I think it's the idea that this perception that maybe they are trying to scale down the pomp and ceremony of the event by not having the dukes there and not having people who believe it was almost their birthright to attend the King's coronation, that they're somehow dampening down all the ceremony and the pomp and the history. I'm not sure that when we see what happens, I'm not sure that's going to ring true.
One person who was photographed looking rather dismal and disconsolate at the weekend was Fergie, who isn't going to be invited. And I saw a big piece today in one of the papers saying, you know, it's her husband or ex-husband Andrew who's been disgraced, not her. You know, why didn't Charles invite her? I'm assuming it's because she's no longer his sister-in-law because they're divorced, so why should he? What do you think?
It's difficult. She grew really close to the Queen, in the Queen's late Queen Elizabeth II in her later years, and she was invited to the funeral. She was also invited to Christmas for the first time at the big house at Sandringham on this year for the first time in like 30 years. So I think they made a decision just to keep it family, and because she's not married to Duke of York, therefore she isn't family, and that's the only reason why she's not attending. But she has said she wasn't expecting an invite. But I think she'd love to have been there, because we would love to have been there.
God, we'd all like to be there. I know you're going to be there. You're going to be in the Abbey yourself.
Yep, haven't seen the seating plan yet.
Don't start complaining and moaning that you're not in the best seat, you're too near the toilets or too near. We don't want to hear any of that. You're very pleased to be there, and I'm jealous as anything that you're going to be there.